Good morning, girls. Now we'll be continuing with the last part of the lesson, and let's see what happens after Jean Valjean gets caught with the police. Now you will hear the remaining part of the story on page 39. So, moving on to the next paragraph, girls, on page 39. The door opened to disclose a dramatic group. 3 men were holding a fourth by the arms and neck. The 3 were gendarmes. The fourth was Jean Valjean. A sergeant of gendarmes entered the room and saluted. Monseigneur, he began. At this, Valjean raised his head in stupefaction. Monseigneur, he repeated. He isn't the curé? Silence, said one of the gendarmes. It's actually pronounced as gendarmes, girls, because this is a French word for French policemen. They are called gendarmes. It is spelt as gendarmes, but pronounced as gendarmes, as if it is zhawndamz. That is the pronunciation, gendarmes. So the gendarmes were the French policemen. So this person Valjean was brought in by the French policeman, and when he sees the bishop, he says, Monseigneur, he repeats, because he is stunned to see that they brought him back to the bishop. He raised his head in stupefaction. Stupefaction, he was very shocked and he was surprised and stunned to see the bishop. So the police tells him to be silent. This is his lordship, the bishop. Monseigneur Benvenu was meanwhile coming towards them as rapidly as his age allowed. So here you are, he cried to Valjean. I'm delighted to see you. Have you forgotten that I gave you the candlesticks as well? They are worth a good 200 francs. Did you forget to take them? Monseigneur, said the sergeant, do I understand that this man was telling the truth? When we saw him, he seemed to be on the run. We found the silver in his knapsack and he told you, said the bishop smiling, that it had been given to him by an old priest with whom he stopped the night. I can see how it was. You felt bound to bring him here, but you were mistaken. You mean, said the surgeon, that we can let him go? Certainly. So, in these paragraphs, we see that Jean Valjean had been caught by the French police and they bring him to the bishop. And Jean Valjean too is surprised to see that he has been brought back here from where he had run away. And then the bishop sees him. Oh, you are here again, he says. Why have you forgotten the candlesticks, he says. I'm glad to see you, he said. And then Jean Valjean is surprised. Then the police even are surprised to think that how come the bishop is smiling at him and he's saying that he's glad to see him there. And he says, then do we understand that this man was telling us the truth? Because he was telling them that he had not robbed the silver, but that the bishop had given it to him. Of course, he was telling them a lie. And so he says, then that means the police says, was he telling us the truth? And the bishop says, yes, he must have told you that I had given it to him, and I did give it to him. And he had forgotten to take the candlesticks. I even had given him the candlesticks, but he had forgotten that. And so the French police tell him, then that means you think we can let him go? And then the bishop says, surely, certainly you can let him go, because he had not robbed it, but I had given it to him. So the bishop here is taking up for Jean Valjean, and he says that he did not rob his silver, but instead he had given it to him. But we know the facts that Jean Valjean had run away with the bishop's silver. He had stayed there that night and he had gone away. But why did the bishop do this? You know, the bishop had great compassion for this man, most probably because he thought that he had gone to prison for just a very minor deed of his, that robbing bread for his sister's hungry children. He felt he didn't deserve such a harsh punishment of to send him to prison, and he didn't want him to go to prison again. So the bishop protected this man, and he thought maybe that he will turn around, he will become a good man if he had been given a chance. So he just wants to give Jean Valjean a chance to become good. So let's see, girls, what happens in the next stanzas, in the next paragraphs of the lesson. The gendarmes released Valjean, but this time, said the bishop, you must not forget your candlesticks. He fetched them from the mantelpiece and handed them to Valjean. And now, said the bishop, go in peace. He turned to the gendarmes. Thank you, gentlemen. And the gendarmes withdrew. Valjean stayed motionless as though he were on the verge of a collapse. The bishop came up to him and said in a low voice, do not forget, do not ever forget that you have promised me to use the money to make yourself an honest man. Valjean, who did not recall having made any promise, was silent. The bishop had spoken the words slowly and deliberately. He concluded with solemn emphasis, Jean Valjean, my brother, you no longer belong to what is evil, but to what is good. I have bought your soul to save it from black thoughts and the spirit of perdition, and I give it to God. So this extract, as I said, it's an extract from Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. So here what do we see is that the gendarmes, the bishop tells the gendarmes they can leave, and he thanks them for bringing back Valjean to him, and he tells Valjean that you can go in peace now because he had given him the silver. And he says, remember, you had promised me, Valjean, that you will use this money that you get by selling the silver to become an honest man. But Valjean doesn't remember making any promise to the bishop. So why does the bishop tell him this? It's just because he wants Valjean to lead an honest life, to change from his evil ways and to become a good man in life. So very deliberately means on purpose, with solemn emphasis means very seriously he tells him, Jean Valjean, my brother. He tells him that you are like my brother. You no longer belong to what is evil, but to what is good. And he tells him that he had bought his soul to save it from black thoughts and the spirit of perdition. What does perdition mean? The punishment one receives after death. We all believe that after death we are judged according to our deeds. So we have this notion that we will be judged by God after we die. So he says, now I want you to be spared from the punishment of death, from the spirit of perdition. I want you to be saved, and that's why I have given you this silver. So in what way he had bought his soul? By giving Jean Valjean the silver. And that's how the lesson ends. So Jean Valjean, we wonder whether he really used this money after that to become an honest man. So to know that, if you want to know further about this, you've got to read the novel Les Miserables, because this is only a part of that novel. So if you are interested to know whether Jean Valjean remained a robber, remained evil, or whether he turned from his bad ways and became a good man leading an honest life, you have to read the novel Les Miserables to know what happens further. And then, girls, you have reading comprehension there, which I'm sure you'll be able to do on your own. You read the lesson again. Wherever you have doubts about this comprehension, you can go back and read the lesson, and then I'm sure your doubts will be cleared and you will be able to answer this, choose the correct answer from pages on page 40 and page 41. And thereafter that you have this question and answers that we will be sending you the notes for, and also the reference to context. I'm sure you'll be able to do that also, girls, because it's not very hard to understand. The ugly thought came and went, and at the same time, unaccountably, he was thinking of something entirely different. Go back to the lesson and see and answer all these questions. And if you still think you have a doubt, or you don't entirely know the answer, so you wait until you get the notes. We will be sending you the notes for the question and answers, as well as the reference to context, the extracts. Okay girls, have a great day girls. That's all for today.